Oh my God. Hello, everyone. This is so exciting. This is my first YouTube live, y'all. Oh my God. I don't know what I've been waiting for, but I'm just not a live girl. I don't know. But hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. So, today we're going to be talking about podcasting. So, this is going to be pretty short, sweet. If you want more information, you can reach out to me and we can talk, we could chit chat. But I know a lot of people have been asking me about how do you start a podcast? What do you need to start a podcast? Should I start a podcast? What should I talk about on my podcast? Are people going to listen? Are people going to tune in? All that good stuff. So I really want to focus on how we can get started. So the first thing that you want to ask yourself is why. I tell my clients this all the time. Like, if you don't know your why and you don't have a reason behind why you want to do something or why you want to start something, it's not going to be successful. So you have to think about your why, right? If your why is something regarding I see other people doing it. I see other people making money from it. I see other people being successful from it. I see other people getting that validation from it. If it has anything to do with validation, money, or comparison, you're starting for the wrong reasons. Also, sorry if you hear a little bit of noise in here, but if it has anything to do with money, validation, or some type of superficial materialistic reason, and not to say that money can't be a driving force or a motivator. For some people that's a huge motivation. Like, money is very, very important. However, I need y'all to know that you're not going to start making money from your podcast right away. Podcasting is a long game. It's a super long game. You have to be committed, you have to be consistent is the main word that we're going to use today. Okay, so consistency. So that means you have to get clear on what day am I showing up every single week, right? It's not like Instagram or it's not like TikTok where you can just post whenever, whatever. And yes, I'm sure that there are podcasters who do that, but the successful ones are not just posting whenever they want. They're posting consistently. They're posting on the same day every single week. So whether that is a Monday, a Tuesday, most popular days, I think, or the best days, let's say the best days to put your podcast out, I'm going to say, are anywhere between Sunday to like Wednesday. I put my podcast out twice a week. That's just me. My podcast episodes are also very short. So usually they're about 30 minutes or less. So it equates to an hour when you're breaking them up, into 2 episodes. And I just prefer to do it that way. I edit my podcast myself. So it just is more time efficient to also have a shorter episode. And I believe that a lot of people just have a short attention span. Like, let's just be real. That's literally the name of my podcast. So a lot of people have short attention spans. So you have to feed into that, and it's not like you have to put only podcasts out that are 10 minutes or 15 minutes because you feel like people are going to listen. If your podcast is interesting, if people are interested in what you have to say, if you are providing value, entertainment, like, of course, they're going to stay tuned in. What I like to do, like, if I am listening to a long podcast, sometimes I'll just pause it. I'll go about my business. I'll go do something. I'll go teach a class, and then I'll come back to it. So, yeah, you just want to make sure. Hi, if you are tuned in, drop a comment. Make sure you're subscribed. So yeah, when I'm listening to long podcasts, I like to separate them. I like to just split up the time. That way, I can really focus. Right? Sometimes you're trying to listen to something too long. You're not really there. Like, your headspace, unless you have the time, the energy, to sit and listen to like an hour and a half podcast. Like, that's not what happened. So when we are starting our podcast, I say keep it short, keep it simple, keep it short, keep it cute. Okay. We don't need to be on the mic for an hour, especially if you're doing solo episodes. Like, if you were just starting as a solo podcaster, you don't have guests, you don't have a co-host, there's no reason to be running your podcast for an hour. Keep it simple. Okay. Keep it cute. So starting short, right? Number one, what did we say number one was? Your why, right? Why am I doing this podcast? What do I want to talk about? what's your topic? Who is your audience? Like, who is your ideal audience? Like, who are you looking to speak to? And if you're, you have a podcast that's kind of like broad, like I consider my podcast to be pretty broad, even though I do talk about along the same things: wellness, entrepreneurship, self-care, mental health. Like those are all kind of tied in. But we've talked about a range of things. We've talked about plant medicine. We've talked about traveling, personal training, like there's no limit with my podcast. So you just have to decide, am I going to stick to one topic? Am I going to stick to just talking about gardening? Am I going to stick to talking about cooking? Like what do you have expertise on? You really have to ask yourself this. Like, what am I an expert on? And a lot of the times, like when we ask ourselves that question, we might have imposter syndrome because we're like, I'm not an expert at anything. Like, I'm not really great at too many things. Or you might feel like you're great at a lot of things. There's a lot of multi-passionate people, multi-hyphenate people who have a lot of different interests or have a lot of different, they have good education in different fields, in many different fields. So you just have to decide, where am I the most seasoned, right? Maybe you don't want to use the word expert. Maybe you want to use the word seasoned. Like, where am I seasoned at? For me, say that I wanted to decide to only talk about one thing on my podcast, I would choose to talk about dance. I would choose to talk about fitness because that's something that I'm seasoned in. I've been doing it for about 10 years. I would probably focus my niche on like people who are looking to become a dance teacher or become a choreographer or become a fitness instructor or personal trainer. So for me, like if I wanted to break it down to like one niche, one specific audience, like I would choose that. So if you are looking to really break it down and you're looking to just have a solid audience, right? You just want your niche, you want to keep it the same every single week. Really think about like, what do I have the knowledge on? Like, what can I really talk about? And also think about like, what can you talk about that you're not going to get bored of quickly, right? I think sometimes like when people are telling you to like niche down, or people are telling you to only focus on like one type of audience or one type of topic, I think you have to really think about like, am I going to get sick of this? Like, am I going to be fishing for different, podcast topic episodes every single week? Am I going to be just talking about the same thing every single week? I think that's a really good question to ask yourself. So getting clear on your topic, getting clear on what am I going to talk about, right? Okay, so going back to your why, I want to make this very clear. Okay, so when we are thinking about starting a podcast, and it's not just podcasting, honestly, with anything, any field that you're going into, anything that you're doing, it's very important for you to have examples. It's very important for you to have people who are already doing it that you can kind of not copy from, right? But kind of just get the inspiration, kind of see how they're running their podcast, kind of see what they're doing, right? That's why people intern. They go in, they kind of like get to see the ins and outs of whatever type of field, business, industry that they're trying to get into, and they have someone to kind of like have as an example to kind of lead them. So it's the same thing with podcasting. So first of all, I want you to write down, what are your top 3 podcasts that you listen to, okay? And if you don't have any podcasts that you listen to, I want you to ask yourself, like, am I equipped to run a podcast right now? Because if you're not listening to podcasts, that means that you don't really have an idea of how a podcast is structured. You don't have an idea of how a podcast, how it's run, how to put ads in your podcast, how to use it to grow your brand, right? So you really have to ask yourself that question if you're not listening to podcasts. And if you're still thinking about, running a podcast and you're not actively listening to anybody's podcast, that's okay too. Okay, that's fine. But it really, really helps if you have a good example of at least 1 or 2 podcasters that are similar to what you would want to put out in the world. Okay, it's very important that you have examples. I do TBM. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of To Be Magnetic. It's a manifestation kind of what do we call it? Kind of like a technique. So I've been working with them for about a year. And one thing that they're really big on is expanders. So they call people who are leading by example, or people who are, already doing the things that you want to do, they call them expanders because it helps expand us, right? Have you ever been to like a concert and you saw like somebody dancing? This is specifically like, I'm a dancer, so this is just me. But have you ever been to a concert and you see like dancers on stage and you're like, oh my God, like I want to do that. Like I want to be that, there's so many people when you're little, right? When you are a child, like everything is an expander for you. Everyone is an expander because you're literally like just picking up on things around you. Like you're literally like, ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. I like how she does that. I want to be that. I want to do that. I want that job. And again, this isn't to like copy someone's lifestyle, right? But we are humans, and humans are always being influenced. We're always being influenced. We're always being inspired by one another. Like this is just part of human nature. We get inspired by other people. So it's very important that we have those people that we can look up to and even mentor. This is why I do this. This is why I mentor people. This is why people come to me, because I've already been doing this, right? So it's easier for people to get the guidance and the help that they need when they see someone who's already doing these things. You get what I'm saying? So give me 1 second because I need to plug my phone in. Pausing. This YouTube really like drains your battery. Okay, so let's continue talking. So you need those examples in your life. Okay, you need examples. You need to have people who are successful at what they're doing, people who are actually interested, right? People who are actually loving what they do. Like I love podcasting, and I always tell people who I mentor, right? Anybody who comes to me and they're like, should I start a podcast? Do you think that I have like the voice to be a podcaster and the personality? It's not even just about the voice and the personality. It's like, do you actually enjoy it? Like, do you think that you're actually going to enjoy it? Because again, if you're only doing things for validation, for likes, for views, for money, and you don't actually enjoy it, you're not going to stick with it. There's some statistic that I have to get, and I should have gotten that for you guys, but there's like a percentage of people who start a podcast and then they just drop off. I want to say it's like after, like most podcasters do not last more than like 10 episodes. And it's probably because they weren't really doing it for the love of it. They weren't really doing it with good intentions. They weren't doing it because they actually wanted to do it. They were doing it because they thought it was like a come up, right? A quick money grab. And while there's so much money to be made, right? There's so much money to be made in the podcasting world. Again, it's going to take a while. Like you have to be consistent and you have to be able to build up your brand. You have to show people, right, that this is something that I'm serious about, right? For some people, yes, like podcasting can absolutely be a hobby, but I think that why not treat it as a job? Like I treat my podcast as a job, okay? And I'm not making no I'm not making 5 figures from my podcast right now, okay? But I use it as a way to continue to build my brand. I use it as a way to continue to build my business. I use it as a way to network, right? The amount of people that I have met through podcasting in the past year is insane. Because first of all, I'm an introvert. So it's very rare for me to be out here like, hey, can we chat? Like, can we go get coffee? Like, can I can I talk to you? But because I have put myself out there and I consider this to be a job, like I am a podcaster, like that is my title, that is my job title, among other things. But if I was just out here doing it for fun, doing it for shits and giggles, doing it for likes, doing it for money, I wouldn't have the same drive. I wouldn't have the same opportunities. I wouldn't attract the people that I've been attracting to come onto the podcast, to network with, to have discussions with. Like, I think that podcasting has allowed me to really get out of my comfort zone. So that's another thing. It's like, if you're not willing to get outside of your comfort zone, if you are not willing to be cringy, because that's going to be another thing, honey. Like, there's going to be a lot of people who are like, who does she think she is? Who does he think he is? Like, starting a podcast? Like, who are you? You know, like, how dare you think that someone cares about what you have to say? There's gonna be haters. And somebody told me this last week. They were like, you know that you are on the right path, or like you're successful when you have haters. And I don't know if that's like a good way to measure your success. I wouldn't really say that, but I mean, haters gonna hate. Okay, haters gonna hate regardless. You're gonna have someone when you start posting Instagram clips of your podcast, you know, talking about who does she think she is, you know, and refusing to like your videos. That's fine. You have to come back to your why. That's why we started with the why today, right? Lesson 1. What is your why? If that's not clear to you, if you don't have a clear understanding of why am I doing this podcast? Why do I love it so much? Who am I talking to? You're going to allow all of that negative energy from other people to now project onto your work, right? Maybe you don't have a lot of people who tune into the podcast right away. Most likely that's going to be the case. Podcasting, again, is a long game. You really have to put yourself out there. You really have to be consistent. You really have to market yourself, right? And if you are looking to grow a successful podcast, right, you have to put the marketing behind it, right? This isn't just, it's more than just sitting down with the microphone. It's a matter of treating this like you're trying to push something out. You know what I'm saying? Like a book, right? If you were to put a book out, you're not just going to put the book out. You're going to get someone, maybe a publicist, you know, maybe someone to help you do a book tour. So you have to think about your podcast in the exact same way. How can I market this? How can I get this to more people? How can I find my tribe? Because most likely, unless you already have a huge platform, you already have a huge network, you already have a big fan base of people who are dying to listen to your podcast, most likely you're going to be building from scratch. So you really have to, you know, be serious about, how can I get my podcast out there? How can I get the exposure that I'm really looking for here? This is lagging a little bit. Hold on. 1 second. I can't believe we're live, guys. This is crazy. I never go live. I had to take out my SD card. I feel like when you have your SD card in your laptop, for some reason, it like sucks up energy. I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, y'all. So I will take any questions because we're going to end this in like 2 minutes. We're keeping this really short today, but I also wanted to let you guys know. So I am some clients. I do mentor people for podcast work. So whether that means you're looking for someone to help produce your podcast, you're looking for someone to help you edit the podcast, those are really like the extra things that I do. What I really help people do is plan and strategize their podcast to get it started. So if you are, you know, looking to get it started, you have no idea, you need someone, you know, to light a fire under your ass, I'm that person. So you guys can always reach out to me on my Instagram. You can also email me, Marissa at realrhythmdanceandfitness.com. Hit me up on Instagram, send me a message. I would love that. I would love to work with you. There is an application. I vet out anybody that I am working with one-on-one just to make sure it is a good fit, just to make sure we're not wasting each other's time. And I want to be able to, you know, make sure that I can help you in the way that you need help. So if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, you can go to my Instagram page, or you can go directly to my link, which is marissatonge.comey.io. And yeah, so looking forward. If you guys don't have any questions, we are gonna end the live here. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is amazing. I don't got no makeup on. I'm looking real barefaced, but it is cold as heck in Jersey. If you guys love this and you are interested in some more, I am possibly thinking of doing a group coaching program for January. So we would meet once a week and pretty much just like, strategize like and bounce ideas of each other. I think when you have the momentum and you have other people starting something with you, it kind of just gives you like an extra push. So I think it's always nice to like have people start something with you or be like in a group with you and, be learning together. So that's also a better, sometimes affordable option. Sometimes, working one on one with a coach, or I don't even like to call myself that, but when you are working one on one with a mentor, sometimes it is, a little bit more pricey. I know the holidays are coming at, but honey, this is the time to invest in yourself. So if you're penny pinching when it comes to your business, when it comes to building your brand, when it comes to investing in your future, like whatever you put out is what you're going to get back. Let's just say that. So if you are investing time and money into yourself, you're going to get that back. You're going to get it back. So always think about that. You are the biggest investment that you could ever make. Like putting time, money, energy, education behind yourself, like you can't go wrong there. So, and always just choosing the right people to work with too. Like there's so many coaches and, social media strategists all over the internet, people just trying to get your money. And it really, when people are so quick to like want to work with you, like that's a red flag, number one. I vet out, like I said, I vet out people that want to work with me. I always want to make sure it's a good fit and that I'm not wasting anybody's time or money or my time. My time is very, very precious. I'm a busy girl. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you're interested, again, in either the group coaching or one on one working with me for mentorship, and I do more than just podcast strategizing. So if you have a small business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a content creator, if you are looking to become a dance teacher, fitness instructor, or you already are one, not or one, if you already are one and you're looking to move more into like the entrepreneur space or the content creation space, then I would love to work with you. I love to work with people where I have the experience and the knowledge and I can share that with them. So thank you guys so much. I will see y'all soon. Bye.